Hello, I'm Kalviainen from the Institute of Design, Lab University of Applied Sciences. I'm going to talk about heuristics in design for sustainable behavior change. Universal design typically strives to help people do what they want or need to do, but there are also requirements when you actually need to design something to change people's behavior. Here one example of a playful slot machine to promote visitors to donate money for charities. But the typical issues where design for behavior change is used is, for example, safety areas or then healthcare issues where people don't actually like to do many things that are beneficial to them. Important area for design for behavior change is design for sustainable behavior change. Since in environmental sense, our future is in crisis through climate change, drop of biodiversity, for example. In Western countries, around 70% of the carbon dioxide emissions are caused by our everyday consumption, like housing, travel, food, products, and services. Production side has often been emphasized in eco-design, but we also need to look at the consumption side. Many organizations are actually offering already information and advice to consumers how to lower their environmental impact. But it seems that general finding shows that there is a very big attitude behavior gap. People are pro-nature, but actually they behave in a different way. We are handicapped as consumers when you consider sustainable consumption. Because of the need of the sustainable consumption, in year 2014, I did a large qualitative study with 76 Finnish people around their urges for sustainable behavior. I found out that people have lots of barriers and hindrances around sustainable behavior, but you can also find drivers that actually cross these hindrances and barriers. You can find interests such as savings or slow life, nostalgia, well-being. You can find issues around information that is really confusing for the consumers and how you could make it more understandable, clear, comparable, systemic, giving advice what to do. You can find what really makes people do. It should be easy and quick findable, removing guilt or showing meaningful results. And you can find things around social issues that seem to be very important. So it should be normal, not fanatic or hippie. It should be social in a way that it promotes you to do things together with others. Some examples how you might make the drivers concrete by comparisons, impactful metaphors. Making it fun, not making it fanatic, but fun. Since it seems that sustainable behavior change requires a service process that integrates well to the consumer's everyday interests and lives. The beginning of the process is crucial. You should provide personal interests and understandable, transparent information that's findable and accessible. And you can find with this process also sort of a match with behavioral psychology, where meta-analysis has found that at the same time, if you want people to change the behavior, you should provide capabilities, motivation, and opportunity at the same time. And you can see that you can find these issues from the service process that I created through my user interviews. So somehow the umbrella for behavior change is a service process, and then under the big process you can find service moments and touch points for interaction, so that the customer can easily go through the service, and the interaction supports the process of going through the service. With behavioral psychology, the discussion is about intervention components and means that you can use for driving the behavior forward. And with capabilities, you can divide the components into physical and physiological ones, with motivation to reflective and automatic ones, and with opportunity to social and physical ones. And then there are the different means that you can use in these different components. And you can think about the service process so that you can put the interventions there in the service moments and in the touch points. Behavioral psychology also has pointed out that we have very bounded rationality, and we think in different types of biases, not rationally actually. We think first quickly with our intuitive and emotional unconscious mind, and after that we start to consider things in a more reflective way, in a more rational way. And this is something that behavioral and cognitive psychology takes into consideration. And the interventions are mechanisms and patterns that help to support with behavior change. It's like the elephant here. The rider is the conscious thinking brain, and the elephant is the automatic emotional brain that works first. And it is actually much stronger than the reflective one. Design researchers have used these psychological findings for creating tools for designers to use them in practice. One of them is Design with Intent tool that was created by Dan Lockton and his group. The Design with Intent cards include 8 lenses of different disciplinary worldviews to promote interventions in behavior change, architectural structures, error-preventing usability issues with confirmation and choice editing, interaction along the process with feedback and guidance. Lucid Lens promotes game-based and playful interactions. Perceptual Lens, visibility and guidance. Cognitive Lens acknowledges the influence of human heuristics and biases. The Machiavellian Lens even suggests manipulation, and the Security Lens proposes countermeasures to undesirable acts. Here is a picture where these kind of ideation cards have been used for Lahti Energy Company innovation for raising user interest and desirability towards low-impact energy solutions. Here you can find some of the Design with Intent cards, but mostly cards which are called persuasive patterns that present one aspect of the behavioral psychology in design. The behavioral psychology also points out that it's important to understand that behavior change is actually a process. So we have the normal habits and impulses, and it's difficult to change them. Knowing and believing something might lead us to see and realize the possibility of change, and then we need to want and be able to do something. And then we still need to persist in doing the thing for it to become habit. So we can even group, as I have done here, some of the interventions from behavioral psychology to the point which are useful in the starting point of the process of change, and then learning point of the change, and then habit formation point of the change. So different types of interventions might be useful in these different stages of the process. There are other types of tools that also reflect the things that I found from my own user research. Finnish organization Sitra has asked some research to make this kind of shift framework, which is a meta-analysis from marketing psychology and economic research, and it proposes some social culturally encouraging sustainable consumer behavior factors that the designers could do for designing suitable solutions to change people's behavior to low impact one. And these shift factors really point out to many of the same things I found out from my own user research. So social influence was important. The issue of the difficulties in habit formation is considered. Individual self and how things reflect to your self-image is important. Feelings are important, but then also after the feelings are considered, cognition, the reflective and rational mind should also be nourished in how you feed the information in. And tangibility, since actually the results from changing your behavior into sustainable ones, they might be so far away. For example, results are seen 30 years from here. So tangibility is very important point to show to people how things are, and also the way that I found out to show people that the results are somehow visible and meaningful. Through the short account around user research on sustainable behavior and behavioral psychology findings, it is possible to draw some heuristics for sustainable behavior change design. Processes are important. Supportive service process that blends smoothly into the everyday life. A process-based structure for starting, adapting, learning, and become habituated to new habits. And the start of these processes is extremely vital to consider with motivation and desirability, and then also opportunity-related things. The capability aspect is promoted later on in the use phase by making it smooth and easy. And social cultural factors support the motivation all the time and around also when sticking to the new behavior further along the process. These mechanisms of behavior change can accelerate solution creation for the change towards sustainable lifestyles. However, also contextual user understanding and local variation of circumstances is important in these kind of solutions. As there is this urgency towards sustainable behavior change, consumption habits that would have much lower impact on environment than they currently do, I suggest that this kind of design for behavior change, design for sustainable behavior change, should become one of the new areas of design for all. Our planet needs us. Thank you.